they can do a little bit better this time, heading into Picks and Bans game at number 2. Call Gaming having a huge chip on their shoulder this time, and they are going to be on the blue side. They will have first pick ability, but I mean, that is definitely something that has to weigh on their minds pretty heavily.
Yeah, they are going to have to think really long and hard about this champion select for themselves and hope that Lucid, you know, maybe he's been playing some Rengar himself, maybe take it away from them so they don't have to ban it, because you have to ban away Sheep's Thresh every time that you play against him, because he's going to pick that champion up so quickly.
Yeah, there are a lot of signature picks on the side of Coast especially, so they're going to be targeting those. And you can't. This is one thing to their credit, they're not jumping the gun here and saying, oh, we had to get rid of what was scary in the last game, which is something we saw in our first set today.
Yeah, and I like that they're banning out these supports and targeting Sheep's champion pool, but I don't think Sheep is the biggest problem on this team. It just looks like Call Gaming is trying to focus on that bottom lane and being like, okay, bottom lane, you got to win this time.
Yeah, well, they definitely want Rocket and Stunt to maybe do a little bit more, but they were playing fine for a while. It's just the real big difference there was Impaler. The fact that Jez's went, dead even, that was completely fine. They just said, okay, we'll deal with that later. Environmental's not going to scale incredibly well in Karthus anyways. We'll be able to just overpower them, and they did.
And Impaler's like, I'm going to take your red, trade you a dragon, then I'm going to go top, get a turret, get a kill, get all these different things. So just sacrificing the dragon for actual trades instead of just doing nothing. It's a really good move there. All he has to do to up his play is be in a position to contest those dragons. But it's still like those early game dragons, right? Like his team was not at that point where they could win the level 6 fight just yet. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah, the Rumble ban away is probably a really good thing too. You talked about him a lot more than I did, but Chris was incredibly potent on those equalizers. Really made the most out of every single one of them. It wasn't just the shockwaves. They had so much burn damage over time. And the fact that he was able to get to a really strong point before the Aurelia, he was able to, pretty much overpower in lane, especially with a little bit of help from Rengar. Yeah,
it was definitely Impaler chasing down Dark Blight in that top lane. And the fact that it was Aurelia versus Rumble, their spikes are very, very different. Rumble's like, okay, I'm pretty good level 1, really good level 2 and 3, and then he just has this great curve upward that just lasts pretty much the entire game. And Aurelia's like, bad, okay, there we go. Like, really high based off items. And if you give him no gold, then he's got nothing.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough. So, they get the Maokai ban away, and they're thinking about first picking Aurelia again. This is going to give the Rengar away, and I'm not sure what they're thinking here.
I think he's just hovering it. I don't know if he's going to take it. I don't think it's a contested pick for the most part that they have to worry about. There are a lot of top lane bans here, but I still think, when you pinch that champion pool, there's still other things in the game that are very important that you need to consider and think about. But it looks like that's going to be it, I guess. Well, yeah. So
should be a pretty no-brainer here.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I am very surprised they let that champion through not once but twice, and Impaler had a field day last time, so we'll see what he does again. Likely on it. I mean, he could go for something else. He could pick up Lee Sin if he wants this time. He's definitely got a pretty wide champion pool.
You think he's going to pull out the Lee Sin instead of the Rengar? Because he wouldn't have to show his Lee Sin play in this round. I think he'd just go for another Rengar game and set themselves up for another composition pretty similar to what they did. I think Chris, he can play whatever he wants top right now because 4 champions have been taken out of it. He still has his Mundo if he wants to go tanky. He still has his Scion that he could pull out.
It's true.
He's also got Riven, which is one of his favorite champions. He's got Lulu, which hasn't been too much in the meta, but I still feel like the fact that they kind of clench down on that champion pool, but there's still a lot of things there for Chris, is a big sign of champion pool differences here, especially if you're first picking it as Call Gaming.
Yeah, so the Rengar, as you mentioned, they're hovering it right now, and they do lock it in very quickly. It's thinking maybe they could wait until next round and just say, hey, take Lee, take Rengar, we'll take the other one, that's fine. But they go on and go for that one, and they pick up Nami as well for Sheep. And yeah, with the support pool being relatively drained, they also grabbed that one away. So I am very surprised that Call Gaming made the choice that they did so far.
Yeah, Call Gaming's pick ban at this point is looking really strange because top laners are typically things that you want to just get power picks on. Aurelia is not really a power pick, and they had it last game, and it wasn't really a big source of strength for the team at all. In fact, I would say it was one of the weaker parts of their team when they had it up top and it was just getting picked on very easily.
Yeah, it's very, very strange that they opted for that extremely. And not only that, it's not even the most played champion in Dark Blight's inventory. They seem to have some particular strategy about it, but they haven't been able to execute it so far. So the real key is here, what do they answer with? The Braum is being hovered, and they instantly lock in the Rammus for Lucid. Yep. So this is interesting.
So last time we saw Rammus in competitive play here is Worlds at 414, And then since then, he's gotten buffs to Power Ball and Defensive Ball Curl in terms of they have the 1 second overlap between each other when you cast them. And his win rate has just gone up a lot. Even in solo queue, he's sitting about like a 56% win rate across all ELOs or all MMR.
The win rate's pretty okay.
Yeah, his win, pretty okay.
Just a bit.
I didn't see it until a second after.
You and Freak are rubbing off on me, apparently.
I had to say it out loud to hear it. But yeah, no, his win rate's pretty okay.
Just a bit. A lot of interesting hovers here for Coast as well. I don't think they will lock in Blitzcrank.
I mean,
no.
Probably not, but they're just going through champions at this point.
There are a lot of options.
I do want to talk about what has been locked in, and I like the Braum for them. I do also like the Rammus. I think that Rammus is a champion that we're probably going to see more of throughout this tournament as it progresses on, because he's one of those champions, one of the junglers that people have been like, okay, we've got these top 4 or whatever, and he's like 4 or 5. He's like right there. He's really, really good, and people who actually practice him and realize this very early on are higher like risk-taking players who like have a lot of time to grind solo queue. And they're like, you know, Sheep has probably been playing some Soraka and things like that because he has time to grind it. And he's like, this is really good. So you have really good game sense. You'll know what junglers or supports are good. You'll start grinding that out so you can help your team. So you kind of figure out what the best champions are before everybody else does, and then you just bring those to the table and be like, how do you deal with this?
Yeah, that's how you evaluate and create the new meta. So
innovate.
Yeah, with Lucian locked in, Malphite. You know, we mentioned there were a lot of options for Chris, despite the fact that there was kind of a drain on the top lane.
Yeah.
And
you gotta take Orianna.
Yeah, I think it makes the most sense at this point.
You have to take Orianna.
Well, it combos so well with what they have. Yep. Every one of them has a gap closer or a way to really get involved in a team fight. But they're thinking about Ahri. I know Environmental could play a really, really mean Orianna.
Well, I know that he plays a really good Ziggs, and it was banned last game.
It's true.
You know, the Ahri, I didn't think that was going to come through because Jez's will just, you know, that's one of his main assassins. But I think he's just going to go with Orianna here. Like, if Coast are just like, okay, we can play Orianna Rengar again, and not show too many cards before the next round, if they 2-0 here, they're just like, okay, that's fine. Well, that makes a ton of sense to them.
And Call is kind of looking for something a little bit different in their composition, and I think it makes a lot of sense because it clearly didn't work last time. Again, they gave up the Rengar, but we'll see how they do here. There's a lot of defense and protection for the squishy carries. I think there's some chase potential here with the Sivir ultimate as well. And last pick over for Coast side, this is going to be interesting to see what they take. It's definitely not going to be Pantheon, but
yeah,
they have
never say never, man.
Okay. We have seen mid Pantheon before, actually. Yeah. It's a little rare, but
Xiao?
Yeah.
Did that game they lost? Yeah, that was.
They did.
That was a very weird game from them.
There have been a lot of weird games this year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, might happen.
Yeah. Well, Jez's on Ahri wouldn't be
too
terribly bad in this particular composition.
You know, he also plays that a lot. It would turn it into a little bit more of a pick comp, which still synergizes with Rengar. He's got a lot of potential with him in synergizing with different mid laners, and they are going to go with that. So the fact they didn't take Orianna away from on either side is actually a little surprising to me. She's been picked pretty much every game today, almost. It's very close to being like that. There's very highly contested mid laner between almost all mid laners in Challenger.
Yeah, and sometimes it's one of those feel it out mid laners. You want to pick somebody who you know is going to be safe no matter what. There are very few Orianna specialists, but it's like first grade mid lane. You have to learn how to play Orianna.
First grade mid lane.
Well, maybe second.
She's extremely safe, scales up, but she's not in this game, so we're going to talk about Ahri instead. Ahri's got more pick potential here, and this team composition from Coast looks a little bit like more of the same with some Wombo, but different mid laner here, more pick-oriented, more assassination potential, and then the side of Call Gaming, you know, once again, they have a little more wave clear this time, though, so Ziggs is definitely going to help them out.
Yep. Well, with all of our picks locked in, we'll be loading onto Summoner's Rift in just a moment. But remember, keep tweeting us out at LOL Esports using the hashtag LCS expansion. Want to know what you think? And, of course, predictions and previews for tomorrow's games as well. So keep hitting us up on that. Start a conversation. Keep it going, rather.
Yeah. Even tweet the 2 teams that you think will make it all the way to the LCS.
Our potential LCS.
Who you'd like
to
see.
hashtag for that.
Yeah. Potential LCS. Hashtag LCS potentials.
That's a long one. But okay, that'd be good, too.
No, that's too long. Anyway.
All right, fine. Let's cut it down.
Yeah.
We'll send it back.
Hashtags are easy, though. You can make a hashtag of anything.
Hashtag?
Hashtag.
That'd be pretty terrible, actually. But try.
Man, hashtags are going crazy today. Hashtag.
Oh, man. We've just had a tweetception.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
just happened.
You could go pretty deep on those. You could be hashtag my hashtag.
All right, well, now that my brain hurts, we're loading up into the game. Call Gaming has a chance to come back into this one, but they're going to have a pretty far climb if they want to make this one. So Coast looking like they know what they're doing. They are starting out in a pretty powerful position here just after the results of last game. And do you think we see anything early out of Call Gaming? Because they did pick a fairly unorthodox comp.
Yeah, it's a little bit spread out all around here. Again, Sivir, not really like a late game beast. She does bring utility to the team in terms of movement speed. But then the Rammus, another R jungler, the Rammus has very like kind of spiky, like just like his back. His back is like his power spikes, right? He's kind of like, okay, I'm kind of weak, level 1, but then I spike up, and then boom, boom, just back and forth in terms of how strong or like mid he is in terms of power. Ooh, environmental, taking a lot of damage already early on.
Yeah, line of scrimmage, though, otherwise, it's really just going to be if you can land a couple of poke shots and what your ability to dodge those early ones are, and we'll see if there's any opportunistic moves. But now, Impaler and Chris looking to double up with Jez's here, see if they get a little bit of vision over at the blue side, see what the jungle start is for Lucid.
Yeah, they're going to have complete information of that, knowing what side he starts on, and that's also really bad for a Rammus. Because when Rammus doesn't start blue, it's a bit of trouble there. Rockin.
Yep.
It's actually apparently pronounced that way.
And Sheep is currently pronounced ow. He took a little bit of damage off that one, but not enough to take him down. They really don't want to commit to this. It's a safe start.
Yeah, it's a really safe start. They do have the information that they need, though. So they're going to see Lucid start on that blue side. Like I said, it's really bad if Rammus starts red. But right now, it's kind of like, well, we know which side he's going to start on because they got wards on both buffs. So he's just going to say, you know what, I have to start at one. I'm going to start the one that's better for me. And he starts at the blue. So they're going to know his route is blue-red, somewhere mid, somewhere bottom, within that 3 minutes and 30-second window. So Impaler will be able to be on that side of the map, or he can mix it up and just go to the top.
On the other hand, though, Rammus can get around pretty quickly once he tucks into a ball like there. So they have to know, and you know, he may not have the best clear time to compensate for that, but the fact that he can really be anywhere, this is why we've seen Rammus as a potential jungle pocket pick.
Yeah, he's a jungler that we saw a little bit of at Worlds.
He's been buffed since then, too, as you mentioned. So, I mean, he's even better in that regard. But right now, he is more interested in kind of clearing out his own jungle to start things off. Rockin' not sustained up just enough yet, but he is up against the Lucian on MASH, so it's kind of a rough lane for him anyways.
Yeah, and MASH didn't really have one of those lane bully champions last time. He was Graves up against Lucian, and now he's on the Lucian side, and it's one of his favorite champions. Every time I watch MASH play, he loves like the Corki, he loves the Lucian. He does play some Tristana and hyper carries as well, but the fact that people are coming back to these champions is really big for him because he loves that early game aggression.
Yeah, and it's definitely starting to favor him in the way the meta is shipping up. So now Impaler level 3, double buffs on. He's looking for anything here just to get a little bit of vision out. I don't think he's really the type that's going to go counter jungle right now, especially just because Lucid really could be anywhere. You can't really find him, and you're not going to want to take down a Rammus to start it off. The claws don't do much against the shell.
No, not at all. The defensive ball curl helping him out there. Rammus has been around Predators before. He knows this fight.
Well, he's going to power ball into the mid right now and might find himself Jez's, who's staying pretty far back now. He has to dip away. Bit of bad timing there.
Rammus is one of my favorite champions.
Oh, really?
I love him. I love him.
All right.
I love him. Because every time I play him, I just walk around and go...
So he's a motorcycle. That was a really good impression.
Oh. Then
you don't do the voice, do you?
Then you come in and you go, okay. Just hit somebody, taunt them, okay.
You know, you could just probably do that for the rest of the show, and I'd be okay with it.
Oh. You'd be okay with it, but I wouldn't be here tomorrow.
Well, then I wouldn't be okay with it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to pass on it. But everything's starting off nice and slow here this game. We've got pretty much just standard lanes, no jungle intervention as of just yet. I think Lucid would be the type to make these early plays, but he's going to walk, unfortunately, on the edge of a ward duration, and that's going to be a pretty big telegraph right there.
If he watches it die.
Back off.
Oh, now he knows. He's like, oh.
He knows they know.
Okay.
Not okay. Oh, he's going to come in anyways. Or not. Into the brush. Here we go. Going to try to make something happen. Dashing away already. Has to back off.
He's done. Yep. He's like, how was that gank?
I can't, guys. I was in lane.
I helped. But the lane pressure is something that is important sometimes. Like, people always talk about just the jungler showing up, but he wasn't relieving pressure there. He was actually applying pressure to a lane that was already pressured in. He got nothing for it there.
Yeah. I think it makes sense that Call Gaming is playing it out this way and to begin with, just because of the fact that they have taken such a massive beatdown in that first game. They're trying not to give up any early leads. If they can sustain it out to that team fight phase, they're confident in that. That is their win condition, and we'll see if this continues to go that way. You know Coast is going to look for an opening, but they are kind of just coasting right now.
Yeah, they're just trying to get through this early game. They're like, okay, you know, they don't have Rumble. Malphite turns on a little bit later in terms of what he does for a team fight. So Orianna's like level 6, and we're all good. Ari's like, okay, let's wait until at least level 9. You know, I can get some kills at 6, but I have to land my charm and then get the Spirit Rush off. But level 9 is around where Ari's got a ton of kill potential, and you guys will be around Dragon.
Yeah, want to wait until they get up to, at the very least, using the ults. It's still very, very early in this game. But again, one of the safest starts of, I think, any game today.
Yep.
Actually, we're in for a very late Ursa.
Oh,
he got him. Environmental, that's quite a lot of poke. And even though they were even level, they couldn't even up the damage. Lucen going to help out, clear the ward.
Yeah, like I said, you can do a lot of damage, but you have to land that charm if you're a pre-6 Ari. And then after 6, you're like, okay. But then when you get to level 9, you don't always have to land the charm to just blow people up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it nearly was able to, she was nearly able to take him out without all of that. And if he'd had 6, I think that would have been a very different story. So now they know that Chris is on his way down. Darkblight has to have told his teammates in comms that, hey, wait a minute, we're suddenly missing a giant rock.
Where'd he go? He's just sitting still.
You know, Remus isn't the only one who says okay. Malphite's a pretty big fan of that phrase as well.
Yeah, when you tell him the movie, he's like, okay.
Like, think they might be related?
Oh, man. Those are, like, how closely related?
Well, it's an armadillo and a giant talking rock. Boulder, excuse me.
Shard of the monolith?
I don't know. Distant, maybe?
Distant. Okay, distant. I was like, that'd be some weird parents,
It's
man.
like second cousin twice removed kind of stuff.
So they're related, but they can still get married. That's the kind of...
Depends on what state you're in, actually.
Anyway.
Yeah. Darkblight is having a little bit of trouble with him, but he's still been able to keep on the CS. I mean, it's a Flask battle. You're not going to see a whole lot of action there, especially on 2 later game champions as well. So it's all about the sustain, and that's the name of the game right now for Call Gaming. They want to last through this laning phase, but Coast is perfectly happy to play that. They say, that's fine. Doesn't matter what time of the game it is, we'll beat you anyways, and they're just playing it out that way.
I'm still just thinking about them getting married. It'd be female fight.
Oh, God. I got you stuck, didn't I?
And I guess it'd be...
They'd both be okay with it.
Yeah, they'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Walker? Yep.
Something about a dead horse and beating it. I don't know. Anyways, Sheep and Nash are on the move.
My brain got distracted. Regardless, Impaler, he's looking for an invade here.
Yeah, they, you know, I think they saw this one coming. There wasn't any warning, but there was a pretty good sense that something was happening. Lucid is kind of rolling on out of that, and they're waiting for him to come back with the red buff, but...
Yeah, when the bottom laner leaves, and you're just like, oh, where'd they go? Dragon? No. Bush? Probably.
Yeah. Not going to get anywhere near that one, and it really...
Oh, Lucid's like, I'm going to check this.
Oh, he doesn't want to.
He doesn't even go inside the bush completely. He's like, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
They could just have it. Just take it.
He's going to have to give that one up.
Take it and leave.
Wow, Chris is proxy farming here, and there's really not much Darkblight's doing to respond to it. Well, they might be able to collapse on him now. Doesn't matter how tanky he is. They're sending 3 members his way.
4.
So Chris, yeah, 4. I mean, this is a pretty big move right now, and he's still staying alive, walking it out, and they just couldn't quite get the angle on him.
Oh, Chris up top. Okay. I saw 4 people down bottom, and I'm just like,
well, there were 4 people down bottom.
That's going to send 4 to this dragon.
Yeah, it is
the 3
happening.
up top. Chris saw them, and that's just exactly what Coast needs to bounce off of.
Yeah, and it's actually very good. They didn't give anything up for this as well, and a pretty big wasted effort for Call Gaming. There is going to be this dragon. It may be taking a little bit of time, but all the same, they're able to get this one out.
And now Impaler's going to be able to hand off that blue buff in the first dragon of the game, going over to Coast. And you know what? That's exactly what they need. They, like before, they were able to give up these dragons, no problem, because the team composition is all about fighting. This one, it's like, you know what? We have a Lucian. We have some early game pressure. We should secure these dragons for ourselves so that we can scale up a little bit sooner, so that our power spikes of Ahri are a little more potent, so that you get them a little sooner. It just, all around, it's a fantastic idea, and it's what they should be doing. Like, sometimes it's okay to give up dragons, and you can go get other things for it, but this was one of those times with the composition where you're like, we should do it. 100%.
Now, Rocket and Stunt might be caught a little bit here. They're not going to see Impaler, and they do get the warning signal.
Oh, here comes
the ultimate. There's the reverse. Ram is coming on in, and he gets Sheep. They caught him. This might be one pickup, or maybe not. It is going to be first blood. At 10 minutes in, it goes over to Stunopolis, and he nearly gets answered back. Impaler having to flash away. Darkblight sensing the blood in the water, goes right after him.
Yeah, wasn't able to kill that minion with the Blade Surge, so he didn't get a reset on it to jump away, and that's going to be Chris just getting some alone time with this top turret.
Yeah, I mean, a pretty big play for Call Gaming, but, you know, they're not going to get off scot-free from it. As you mentioned, Chris is able to
ulti.
Pop this one down. Environmental, yeah.
No, he's not. He's not going to throw it up top to clear it. And Malphite's just getting some alone time with that turret. He's like, hey, I'm a rock. You're made out of rock.
Well, you think they'd be friends then?
It'll work out. No. He's angry at him.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to hit on that turret. Hey, in the middle of a game, man. Get it together.
I thought rock beats scissors, not rock beats rock.
Sometimes you smash them together. They beat each other.
Like sparks. Yeah, it's a question of when you use that ultimate, and, you know, one of the reasons Ziggs has not been seen as much in play lately because of, I forget which patch it was, back when they did nerf his ult. It was quite a while ago when they gave it a, you know, non-scaling cooldown. Have to make choices.
A lot of things like collision radius of his Q as well.
Yeah, that's
changed over time.
It's made him a little bit less popular, but Environmental's playing him very well right now. It's, you know, granted he definitely has a lot of range on Jezz's, but he was able to get away during that level 5 close call.
This cameraman knows me too well.
Oh, yeah. Here comes Lucid. And those boots. Get to that jungle as quick as you can.
Rammus just makes me have so much fun.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you're having a good time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't even care what game it is. I'm like, there's a Rammus in it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's the same way I feel about Jinx. That's why I was so excited when there was Super Mega Death Rockets.
Oh, yeah. Man, I got a pass with Rammus.
Mm-hmm.
Season 1, man.
Yeah? Back in the old days?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tell me the story sometime.
Yeah.
We're not in game.
Some other time. Story for another time. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris is going to go get some ward coverage for himself. He has the Frozen Heart already completed, which is a great first item up against that Aurelia. You're going to slow the attack speed. You're going to make it so that she actually descales and that her Trinity Force spike isn't as powerful.
Yeah, and that's a really useful first item just also for the cooldowns as well. Chris can get involved in the fights very quickly, and I mean, that's just a massive item for him. They've got a lot of things they could take on the map now. No towers on either side, just one kill. It has been a very, very conservative early game. And MASH playing this out, dodging the skill shots almost perfectly. We haven't really talked much about this bot lane because other than the Rammus gank, there really hasn't been much to tell.
Yeah, and that Rammus gank was pretty much just motorcycle sounds. Wasn't telling much of anything.
No, that was exactly all it was. But it was appropriately describing what happened.
Oh, yeah. No. If all I had to tell you about a play was you'd be like, oh, I know what happened.
Right,
just
exactly.
gonna try to tank this, use the minions for the extra regen. Look at that turret so low, it's gonna fall down. Chris still has ulti.
Yeah, he does take a couple of shots, and he's gonna do it. Unstoppable force. Darkblight's in trouble. Blade surging away, and now it is a game of cat and mouse, except there's a rock involved. And Darkblight, see if he can get away from that one. Can't escape the Q, and there he goes.
Hey. Her blades are like scissors. Rock beats scissors.
Oh, there you go.
Boom, right into her chest.
Okay.
That's where the scissors
That's pretty brutal sounding.
I know. She's got one of the most gruesome death animations. I love it, though. So Chris, great solo kill in that top lane. Used his flash. Darkblight didn't use his flash to get away or dodge the unstoppable force.
Yeah, and I think it's good to keep the flash in that case. He probably wasn't going to be able to escape it very easily once he already had seen that he was getting tracked down there, the shard. So Impaler and Jez is looking to make some moves into this jungle as well. Coast knows they have a little bit of an edge here towards this mid game. He's going to get a jump on. Lucid has to know there's a Rengar in the area, but it's red buff he's interested in, so he will be going for that one. And he's doing a pretty good job at stealing this one away.
Yeah, Impaler puts a lot of emphasis on these red buffs. Like, I don't know if Broken Shard was his dad, and he's like, you killed my daddy every time. He's like, we'll give up a dragon for this red buff. It's fine. Rammus is over the wall. Let's go for this red buff.
He's made it work every time.
Oh, yeah, because he's a Rengar. He loves that buff. He loves slowing people down after his ultimate, or at least just perma-slowing them after he gets the root. It's a great decision by him.
Yeah. Now, Lucid seemed pretty unperturbed by the fact that, you know, he had that exclamation mark on his head for a second. He knows Impaler's probably still around, but he's getting into the lane right now. Stunopolis is already backing away. So is Rockin', but they will be giving this tower up if they do back away and don't have any defense, so they're going to cancel that one.
He's just hanging. Impaler is basically living in that jungle, but here comes Lucid. He's not going to get the inside route on that.
It's been hard to get those lane ganks going, and, you know, to the credit of Coast spot lane, they've been protecting it incredibly well.
Impaler.
Oh, Environmental's going to run straight into him, and I don't think he expected that one. That's going to be a big pickoff. He does go down with a bang. Maybe not just yet. He's still hanging around. Impaler getting taunted on Lucid right now, and he's going to finally go down. It's a 1-for-1 trade mid for jungle, and the rest will walk away.
That last time that he tried to jump onto Environmental, the satchel charge went off and knocked him back. It's perfect.
Yeah, really good.
Oh,
Lucid! He's going to be able to get in there. Jez is in trouble, having to burn his own flash. Heals up as well, and they're going to take this fight. It's Chris taking down Darkblight to start that one off. They will also find Lucid on top of it. The Dragon is angry. Get out of my pit, but they're going to be not done with him yet. Stunopolis will be falling down. A double kill going over a Mash, and just like that, they find themselves 3, and they're going to get the Dragon.
And Impaler's up just in time for it. He's going to have to walk all the way back, but it looks like it's just going to be Coast Dragon again. There is Rockin right off on the side, though.
He could do something to try and steal this, but it'd be so tough without actually getting in danger. Yeah, he's going to try.
Whoop.
It wasn't even in range of that. Who needs a smite when you've got that damage?
Yeah, when they don't have any members there, you definitely don't need it at all. Like a really good job there from Coast in that fight. It started off with a pick, Environmental just face-checking the bush, Impaler living in the enemy jungle, just making them make hard decisions is what a jungler should be doing.
Yep, and you can see that lead slowly edging up there. 4,500 gold, 16 minutes, and it just started getting blown wide open after that fight, so Coast feeling pretty confident they can keep going. And how about Chris? Those unstoppable forces have just been really crazy.
Yeah, his unstoppable force usage has been really good this game. Chris is a really good top laner. I think he's at least top 2 in this tournament, possibly top 3.
Hmm. Well, and Malphite is, you know, an option choice in a lot of cases, too. You want him for that ultimate in particular, but also for the fact that he's going to sustain perfectly fine. And, you know, it is a shutdown. Darkblight first picked this Aurelia, but there we go. Again. There it is. Pretty low cooldown on that one, and I don't know if Environmental is going to be able to get away. Mid-satchel jump, he's going to get popped by Jez's, takes his second kill of the game, and Coast 3-manning up this mid. They've only got 1 minion there, but they might be able to poke this one down. It needs a stiff breeze. They
Pretty
sure
sure
it over.
Chris was sitting there with his ultimate. He's like 3, 2, 1, and that was the cooldown of the ultimate. As soon as it came up, he was like, boom, I'm gone. That's the Frozen Heart's going to do for you.
Yeah.
Frozen Heart giving him that extra CDR he needs on that Malphite and just making plays across the map.
Well, not to mention there's a solid amount of attack damage as well that negates and disincentivizes them to really attack him, and that's all they can do because of how much gap close he gets off of that. So it really is an incredible combination there that they've been using. So Stunopolis is going to find Sheep here, but he doesn't quite have the damage. Gets the stun up, but the bubbles up as well. And now with Mash in the picture, I don't think they want to take this one. The lane continues, but it's a little bit wonky now.
Oh, red buff on Mash, so he's going to get a little bit extra damage there on Stunopolis.
Yeah, this tower's pretty low as well. Yep. I think they need some help from Lucid right about now, but he is en route. He has been trying to favor that one, but, you know, for all of the motorcycle noises, he hasn't quite gotten too much more than that one pick. And now Chris still doing the best he can to push some things out.
Lucid puts a lot of emphasis on this bottom lane in terms of his ganks.
He likes the lane ones, too. I think I'm kind of surprised. But then again, there have been a lot of warding that Mash and Sheep have been doing on this bot side. Now, they could be in a little bit of trouble. Here he comes in, Powerball. He's going to get his pulling on. Bubble. No, he's getting out of there. And now Sheep's in trouble, taunted away. They'll be able to find him Tremors on. And that's Lucid picking up his second kill. Turret was killed all the way opposite in the top side. And they're in the mid side. And they're still going, diving back beyond this one. Darkblight could be in a bit of trouble. But now Chris and Impaler are caught between a tower and a hard place.
And meanwhile, Jez has actually solo killed Environmental in the mid lane, got his flash, used his own ignite, and also he's got a Magize.
Yep, and here comes Lucid to try and even the score. Riding on Impaler is actually going to flash away from that one, so Chris all on his own. That tower's taken a lot of abuse. Darkblight. Oh, Blade Surge. Minions might do it. It's actually Chris. He flashes in for it, and Lucid just left to clear some minions. Wasn't able to protect Aurelia right there, and geez, the hits just keep on coming.
Yeah, Chris has a lot of armor, and he has that extra HP from the Giant's Belt already in his pocket. He's able to tank this up. Look at that. They might have to sacrifice this blue.
Yeah, I think so. Lucid is certainly not having any of that. He's trying to chase them away from it. But Darkblight, despite the fact he just picks up his finished Trinity Force, he's got that power spike now, but he's so far behind compared to Chris, and that's just not what you want, especially considering his last performance on Aurelia was similarly not very good.
It's a first pick, too.
Yeah.
It's a champion that they first picked for him. So it's one of those things where the champion pool and the comfortability on the champion, having it first pick, like first pick should be an emphasized champion that gives you a power pick, like I said in Champions Select, and I don't think this is one of them for the team of Call Gaming.
Yeah, it certainly has been a curious choice throughout this series, and you know, maybe they're hoping he starts channeling a little Wicked before this game is over, but for the time being, it's been really, really rough for Call Gaming, and they have grabbed a few little edges here and there, but it seems like it's consolation and compared to what Coast has been doing.
They just keep standing in these bushes because they understand that they should be using parts of their pick comp at this point in the game. Because they have this little bit of a lead, 5K. They have pressure. Jez's has a Magi Soul Stealer, so every pick they get is exponentially worth more than what it should have been worth, because it gives immediate combat stats too.
Yeah, and that just shows how confident he is after finishing the Deathfire Grasp, but he goes straight into that item. And, you know, Jez is, we mentioned he sometimes likes to be a safe laner, but he has a hidden assassin side that he brings out in situations
It's
like
only
this.
Ahri, for the most part. I know he's been practicing some Zed lately, but it's pretty much only been Ahri that he keeps falling back on. Signature champion for him. That and his Ziggs a little bit.
Yeah, I would say. And, you know, the Ahri is definitely a more catch-oriented pick, and it works with this team because they have so much in terms of small CC lockdowns. They have Sheep for the counter-engage as well. And so far, Call Gaming hasn't really been able to find a situation where they want to even take anything close to a 5v5. We've had pretty much just very, very scattered skirmishes throughout this game.
Yeah, and the skirmishes keep going in favor of Coast. They'll give up one or two, but overall, Coast is just doing a really good job of splitting, and they're just, you can kind of see winning off of individual skill in these lanes. Jez is a solo killing environmental and getting some advantages from him, and then going like middle, going bottom, going to the dragon. Just they're playing really, really soundly on Coast's team, and it just shows why they're one of the tournament favorites. Like, it'd be very surprising to most people if Coast did not make top 4.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big statement there, just showing how much confidence people have in them and they have in themselves going forward. But it is an all-star lineup, as you mentioned. This particular roster might not be as long-standing, but they all have experience. They all seem to come together, and you know that turnaround time is much lower when you have LCS caliber players across the board.
Oh yeah, they all spent a little bit of a stint in the LCS, and they're looking to get back. And there it is, Dragon again for Impaler. Pink ward cleared out. Started up. Yep,
Stunopolis and Rockin are here at the red side, but what are they giving up in exchange for it? Lucid's going to clear this one away, but Dragon's already at half health, and they're hoping to scare them off. It looks like they do, but this could be a real fight now. They need Chris, and they need Jez's to get in here to make this 5v5 happen. Can Call Gaming pull this one off, though? They just might. However, Stun has to stop taking pot shots like that. Rockin really trigger happy with that spell shield, too. Very quick that he used that. That's going to be off for a little while, so they may want to try and disengage this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of things here, like Mash just walking up and forcing some damage. The thing is if Stuntopolis, he has to take that damage. If he doesn't take that damage and he uses Unbreakable, then Sheep just waits and then throws out the Tidal Wave. Because Stuntopolis, he wants to save that E for the ultimate. We're going to see here comes the Rammus, but also a TP behind him.
Chase, Mash, he's in a little bit of trouble. There's no power, but they do jump onto him. The taunt is out. They've got the Glacial Fissure. The bomb is up as well, and this is going to go a little bit crazy. Mash is down, but what else can they do? Looks like they might just walk it out right now, and Darkblight looking for Sheep for a little bit more. DFG, they're going to blow him up. That's Curse. Chris happening big play on that one, and now Chris is still going forward. They might have turned this one around. They find themselves atop in jungle. Stunopolis trying to tank up all the damage he can. Unbreakable, not anymore. It's a double kill. Going over to Jez is now rocking Environmental. It looked good for them at start, but it looks like it turned around pretty quick.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a really good fight for them, but then Call Gaming kept going with it, and Lucid flashed forward, got picked off. Darkblight ended up eating a DFG, and then just the remainder of damage from Jez's, and that's going to reward Coast with a Dragon right after that.
And even more kills on top of it. Again, they had one good play, but they overstayed, and the Cavalry arrived. Coast just coming up and cleaning up, and now they've got 9,000 gold ahead of their opponents. Over 9,000.
Yep, over 9,000 gold at 23.5 minutes here for Coast.
Yeah, a big up for them right now. 3 towers to 1. It has been difficult for Call Gaming to really find much in terms of objectives. They have been getting picks here and there, but again, it just seems like what they do is too little.
Yeah, and once again, Jez is going to have even more stacks on that Magi's Soul Stealer.
Yeah, going to be pretty difficult for them to get past that one, yeah. And the Rabadon. Now, I mean, 5-0 on Ahri is crazy enough even without the items. But you've been seeing how he's been able to melt through those health bars. And, you know, no one on Call Gaming has really stepped up immensely. I think the closest you've got is Lucid. He's done a pretty solid job where he can, but it's difficult to carry the game off the back of a Rammus.
Yeah, Rammus is extremely, like, he doesn't carry the game. He sets people up. He's a facilitator. You're never going to see a Rammus, unless it's like a full AP Rammus, just run into people and be like, ah, you're dead.
Well, that would be something to see. On the other hand, they have a good stall composition. You have Environmental on a Ziggs, and that is one of the best anti-siege champions you can pick.
I don't know how much use they're going to get out of it, though. You know, it is a pick and engage composition here from Coast. This team likes to go at you, and they don't like to stop. Unstoppable Force, then the On the Hunt.
It's a properly named ult.
Yeah.
Well, they are trying to angle in for something they can get here, but Darkblight on the wrong side of this one. They're going to get a little bit more vision in this jungle, and they are looking to try and crack the outer inhibitor shell, or outer turret shell, excuse me. And I think it might be a matter of time if they can push in with decent wave. There's a pretty big one growing on the bot side, and they have the option to move there. Really nothing Call Gaming can do but try to defend.
They're just on their back foot pretty much this entire game. They put up a little bit of resistance here, but that's just because Coast doesn't have as dominant of a mid-game team as they did before. But now, at this point, just the 10k gold advantage might be enough for Coast to just push this game out with a 1 or 2 good fights. They're just going to keep getting objectives off of good rotations. Now, Impaler, he has the Thrill of the Hunt available, ready to come around.
Yeah, should they need him for the time being, they're happy to just try and poke down this tower. They have to deal with Darkblight sooner or later, but it's a little bit late for him to be doing that. The teleport is up for him. They don't have one for Chris.
Here they go.
Excuse me, they're going to go for this one now. Impaler jumping on Environmental. They go for the backline dive. They didn't quite get what they needed. Rockin' though is pretty low, and Chris is in the middle just causing havoc right now. The tower is making him pay for a little bit there. Jez is trying to get the assassination. Doesn't land on it. The Big Mega Inferno Bomb coming out, but Chris is still staying alive, and they managed to take down Stunopolis. Mash, they might find a little bit more. Jez is, wow, Rockin', he's already down, and they have to be careful here. Coast is low, but they have the number advantage, and they just fight that much better.
Impaler ended up missing the Bola Strike there, and that had the follow-up fail as well from the Unstoppable Force. Mash is a little out of position, but they catch Lucid.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get charmed up, and now Mash gonna almost find Environmental, but hit Darkblight, and he comboed that one up, and the burn just wasn't quite enough, but still, they find 3 for 1. I guess they don't need towers. They got kills.
Nope, they went for the kills anyway, and they got them. Ooh. Man, that fight before was really sloppy from Coast because they missed a lot of things, but it still worked out for them because of the gold lead that they had. If they didn't have that gold lead, if Chris wasn't 4-0 and 6 on that Malphite, it would have been a completely different fight. But, you know, they set themselves up for it.
Yep. They definitely wanted that one, and you could tell that it's not just the fact that they're very far ahead. Again, some of these members have not played with each other, and despite the fact that they are very high-quality players in their own right, sometimes the comms aren't really all that evolved just yet. They need a little bit more time, and that is one of those rare situations where you see that kind of falling apart a bit.
Well, we also saw it when the Nexus in the previous game was open and Jez was the only one attacking it, and Mash was already back towards that bottom lane tier 2. It was one of those situations where the comms and the decision-making seems to be a little bit more of a collective thing for a bit. You know, communication does break down sometimes, but when you have one decisive shot caller, they can work on that.
But this is also, this is Coast with some new members.
Yeah.
This is a team that is not, again, not all of them have been together that long despite being very experienced overall. If this is how good they are now with imperfect shot calling and comms, how good can they get? The potential is pretty high.
Looks like they're setting up for the Baron, but they saw Impaler on the bottom side of the map here. Throw the Hunt available.
Yep.
Lucid's going to go to the other side.
They're going to go for this one. Lucid, he gets charmed up, but he's got his own taunt down. Jez's has to be careful here, just going to Spirit Rush away from this one. This fight's going pretty haywire. Sheep might be in a bit of trouble. He's down. It's Darkblight picking up the kill on that one. Lucid has already fallen, however, and it is a 1-for-1 support for jungle, however, and it looks like Coast still interested in continuing to engage.
Impaler now with the 5-stack Ferocity. Mash going to continue to push out this mid lane.
Mash has no fear for an AD carry. This guy wants to get up in people's business every single time.
Yeah, he's got the mechanics for it. He knows how to kite people and outplay them. He's a very, very flashy player, but he's also very consistent in what he does.
And he's not playing a duelist Lucian either. He's gone for the very conventional AD carry start now. Oh, Chris could be in trouble, but he's so tanky. It's Stunt, actually, who takes a lot more damage anyways. Can't smash down the rock as they are pushing him back. Environmental and Rockin' have come to the rescue as well, but it looks like we're going to have a bit of a wonky Baron dance, more of a two-step, really.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody really has the Baron in their sights. They just have the fight in their sights, trying to just play around the other team.
It's a pretense.
Yes. And Dragon is now coming up just now. Impaler, already with his eyes on it, keeping the objective control for his team.
Should be able to poke this one down pretty quickly. You see Lucid in the area, but no flash for him means there would really not be a chance for that one. Dragon's going down, and it is another bit of gold into Coast pocket.
The map is looking really naked here for Call Gaming. Coast, they're getting control of all of these crucial areas that will have contests in them very shortly.
Yeah, definitely a much more methodical game than we saw the last time around. Impaler, you know, clearly not just picking up everybody with Superman strength and running them into the enemy team and just pulling off the win on the top of that. But still, it's refreshing to see that they are able to pull off multiple styles of gameplay equally well.
Lucid gonna clear this out. Knows that he has the time for it. But he's getting TP'd behind right now. Chris is actually behind him. They're trying to pinch him off.
Maybe he
if
doesn't
they
have
get
the time.
jungler.
Oh, he's powerballed away. Oh, they might actually, if they don't predict where he goes. No, they're not going to go for it. Okay. But they did scare him a little bit.
Yeah, scared him away. They clear out the ward. And that might force him to wrap around again because their vision is scarce. Impaler's going to walk up to Lucid.
Yeah, he wants this one, actually. So a little bit of jungle fight
Oh,
right now.
he got the
One level
Powerball.
advantage. Yep, he did get that one out. Bubble's going to land, though. It's going to go on Lucid, the tidal wave as well. They should be able to pick him off. And they also answer back with a big kill over in the jungle as well. Darkblight, he's down. It's a double going over to Jez's, and they want even more. This could be Baron right here. It's 30 minutes in.
He's got 17 stacks. He's at, that looked like 775 AP on that Ahri.
Yeah, that's why you build a Medjai's at this point in the game.
If you're that good at Ahri.
Yeah.
You don't always build a Medjai's
If you're
second
Jez's,
item.
don't try this at home.
Yeah, don't buy it second item all the time.
Only if you're 9-0.
And looking to be an LCS player.
Yeah.
In the promo
Pretty
tournament.
steep conditions there, but you can see the amount of damage that Coast has right now, just firing down this Baron at will. It's got absolutely no chance, and the big buff going over to Coast. 31.5 minutes in, they have a massive lead over Call Gaming.
Massive is a big understatement. It is completely huge. I don't even know, like, there's got to be a word for it somewhere. Massive is
ginormous.
Is getting there. Ginormous, you got to make up words for this.
Yeah, gargantuan perhaps?
Gargantuan.
Yeah, let's go with that. That's one we don't use enough.
Gargantuan, man, you're bringing me back to like D&D. It's a gargantuan-sized gold lead, like literally just the size of gold, a huge gold mound the size of a dragon. That would be gargantuan.
Well, I think gargantuan was usually the size of a monster that was described to me by a DM if I was about to die to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
like, have you ever
that's
seen?
usually what it means.
You ever seen just Player's Handbook? It shows like a human, and it's like, oh, let's scale this up. And gargantuan is just like 20 times larger than anything else.
Yeah, just about. You're like, oh, you want me to fight that?
No,
Okay, that's not happening.
Fight it? I don't know.
That's
Die to it? Maybe.
Pretty much where Jez is. He might be squishy, but he's definitely going to pick you off. Talk about gargantuan too. Chris is pretty massive on this Malphite. I mean, 409 is nothing to sneeze at, and they have not been able to scratch the rock.
He hasn't died yet. We've seen a lot of...
Oh, Darkblight, speaking of dying, could be a bit of trouble. The bull is on him now, but Impaler guessed he was going to be going a different way, and he's going to get the jump on, but here is the cavalry as well, and he just has to try and blade search away. He's taking a pretty good job with Kite. I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this one for much longer. The culling is on. Mash is trying to chase him away, and they're leading him on a chase all the way around. This is going to buy a little bit of time for Call Gaming,
boots.
But I think his days are numbered here, and Impaler is on the hunt, and he doesn't give up.
Moby boots, but can the blade surge be enough for Darkblight?
Well, does he have enough time for the execute? I don't know.
Oh, he flashes!
He's going to do it. That's Impaler. And that, sweet 300 gold.
He had to get it. He had to get it. It's like, nope.
They'll try to do the same thing in the bot side. Chris is now going to get taunted up. But again, wow, actually, Rockin walked away from that one, the Unstoppable Force down. But again, very low cooldown on that. And Lucid, he just can't do it.
Well, they just don't have enough gold in their pockets or combat stats to really fight off this Malphite. 409, and we've seen him stroll through towers before with the team on him, just completely just soaking the damage of it.
Yeah.
So he's really tanky right now, and I don't know what Call Gaming can even do about it. No Last Whisper yet, no Bloodthirster even completed for Rockin', so he's not even going to chip him yet.
Yeah, it's absolutely a huge lead for Coast as they continue plowing through the defenses of Call Gaming. And look at that environmental through the backline, still melting there. The Mega Inferno Bomb not nearly going to do enough. Jez is in the front line. This could be a chance for them to get back into it. The charm is on. Darkblight, though, he's going to be able to flash away. Jez is burning that summoner to save his own life. Impaler, though, coming around the backside. He's taunted up. It doesn't even matter. Everyone's pretty low. Impaler is going to get shut down by Rockin', but they should find Darkblight. One more tick of damage, and a big proc on the Static Shiv is going to get another kill in Mash's pocket. They're marching down. They're looking for inhibitor turrets. They're looking for inhibitors. I think Coast is looking for the game.
They're coming into this base. They're going to knock this turret down. Going to get themselves another. The wave clear is very, very scarce for Call Gaming. It's going to be a desperate time here for them.
Yep, big inhibitor take right now. They can roll around the top and do this again. You know, they don't even have to wait for minions. Chris is just absolutely huge. I can't even think of any more synonyms to describe him or this game anymore. It's just getting crazy.
He's pretty big.
Just about.
Oh, they're just going to play
Somebody
it
ate
safe.
his vegetables.
Oh, somebody ate his vegetables, so he just ate everything else?
Or Wheaties.
And then he ate the person?
And yeah. Well, he's got a
That's
Baron
how big
buff,
he
so
is.
technically he's a purple people eater. For another minute at least. Oh, they're going to catch Lucian. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And you know something's going wrong when your tankiest member can melt like that.
Yeah, Rammus ain't purple, but he's still getting eaten up. And look at that
big unstoppable force. They find a double kill from Mash, and they're going on forward. A triple. Can he get the quadra? It looks like it, and that just might be it. It's actually going to be a double kill for Jez. They will clean house, absolutely. And this is going to be game. 35 minutes in, Coast going to take a 2-0 over Call Gaming, and they did it in style.
11-0-11 for Jez's, and a 20-stack Magi. That Ahri looking at over 800 AP. Ridiculous gameplay from all of Coast across the board.
And you say perfect game, and yeah, they made that one look pretty easy. So Coast coming up with a big 2-0, and they're going to move on to the next round. Really no trouble.
Yeah, they're just looking in top shape. Like Coast, you know, there were some questions about like who they were going to get after some members had been leaving the roster, and then they pick up Impaler and Jez's. They pick up 2 members of the EU LCS, bring them over, and then they have really solid performances on this team. You know, this is a team that you have to keep your eyes on for the rest of the tournament. This is a team that people are like, these guys are favorites. They're coming in here extremely strong, possibly stronger than the Coast lineup has been in a very long time. So just having that rejuvenation to it is a big thing.
Yeah, massive game in their pocket. 2 games in a row just about. And, you know, even though one ended a lot quicker than the other, it was pretty hard to really sneeze at either of them. The performance was really good. They didn't show a lot of hand either. Yeah. So it was very good for them, and they will move on. I think it's Call Gaming. They played their all. They played their hearts out, and they were just unable to come up with a win. So with all that done, we get to go over and talk about our updated bracket and what's going on next.
Yeah, you know, Call Gaming, they are a UCLA team. They're going to have more for them later on, but not in this tournament.
Yeah, no, not. And, of course, we will review what is going on going forward into tomorrow's matches. Zenith Esports did lose to Final 5 2-1. They will face off, Final 5 will face off against Complexity Black in Group A.
And then in Group B, we saw Complexity White 2-1 over Monster Kittens, and they're going to play Curse Academy next week.
Yep, of course. And then over in Group C for what will be our last match of tomorrow's games, LOL Pro will take on Fission Esports. And Team Coast Gaming, of course, 2-0. Big game we just saw. They'll be waiting for the winner of that one.
And then in Group D, we have Enemy Esports and Noble Truth tomorrow. And the winner of that plays Team Fusion in a week. Team Fusion did get that walkover over Confusion Gaming.
Just to make things a little bit more confusing. So after that, of course, those next matches up will have our winners out of each of the groups going forward next week. And to see what happens in the offline event. I mean, all these teams are looking incredibly strong. This is going to be, I think, just a complete bonkers tournament going forward.
Yeah, we'll have our top 8 by the end of tomorrow. And then the week after that, we will have our top 4 that make it to the double elim section, where the winner of the winner's bracket and the winner of the loser's bracket make it into the LCS. So really big things on the line here for both of these teams as the LCS looks to expand to 10 teams.
Absolutely. So, I mean, big wins today. I think some of the games were a little bit closer than some people expected. I think the Zenith match in particular was really awesome to watch. And I think there's going to be a lot in the books for Final 5. But, you know, some of those guys that got seeded ahead, they might have to be watching those games and thinking, what can they do to come up against that?
Oh, yeah. You know the teams that got buys were watching these games. And hopefully all you guys were watching these games, too. If you walked away, shame on you.
Yeah. Didn't want to miss it, especially the Rammus games.
Oh, yeah. The Rammus games. No. Even if they lost, I don't
You missed out on motorcycle noises. I mean, that is... You missed a good time. But just because we finished with our matches for today, of course, the action doesn't have to stop there. Keep tweeting out. Let us know what you think. You can go over to LOL Esports, or rather at LOL Esports, and tweet out LCS expansion. What were your big plays of the day? What do you think is going to go on tomorrow? And who do you think are going to run away with those LCS spots?
Yeah, tweet who you think those 2 teams are going to be. Out of all of them, we haven't seen Fusion just yet in this tournament. Haven't seen Curse Academy or Complexity Black, but I'm really excited for those games next week. And that action that we have tomorrow with Noble Esports and LOL Pro and all
Fission.
Those 2 other teams, Fission and is it Enemy?
Enemy Esports as well. So yeah, should have some pretty good matches, of course, but that is going to be it for us tonight. So from all of us here on the ASL broadcast crew, the casters, Irene, of course, Azumo and Egad, everybody, thank you so much for watching. GG, good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.